Recorded live from the Lyons Den in Vidor, Texas, it's the Rant Squad. But now we get to the NFC, which I think is going to be tough. So let's just kind of look at the teams that made the playoffs last year in the NFC. Lions, Eagles, Buccaneers, Rams, Vikings, Packers, and Commanders. That was your playoff teams last year. How are they going to be different? We're going to go into the NFC East. And so, Brendan, we're starting with you this time.
I know Clint could probably talk a little bit more on this, being an Eagles fan. When's the last time someone really repeated in this?
I think it was Philly 03-04.
You know what I mean? So we're talking 20, 21 years here. Well, you've waited 2 decades to see it. Philly's going to repeat here. I think Washington takes a small step back with Daniels. It's a sophomore season. I still have them as a playoff team, but I think they're going to take a small step back, like we saw with Houston. This past year, the difference is Houston had zero competition, I feel, in their division towards the end, than Washington does. Dallas, to me, they're an 8-9 win team where I just feel like we're going to come to the last 3 weeks of the season, and all people are going to talk about is Dallas. They're going to be all over your TV. Are they going to make it? Are they going to win here? I think at the end they're not going to make it. And I just think the Giants, I don't know what to do there. Jackson Dart, maybe next year they do something. But Philly, to me, it's not a cakewalk, but they definitely have the team and the coaching staff to win this division.
All right, Clinton, who you got?
Listen, there's one certainty about the NFC East, and that's that no one ever freaking repeats. And I'm just not going to, until I see it, I can't bet on it. I still love my team, and we're still going to go far. We're still going to have a good year. But for the division-winning purposes, I look at a team that's probably hungry, and that's the Dallas Cowboys. They went and got George Pickens. They got Dak, who is a good quarterback playing in a great quarterback era. The coach, I'm not too worried about. I think the biggest question is, can they get the run game going? And I think they will. They'll figure it out. They've got enough running backs back there. I think it's going to be, hey, we're going to start this guy, see if he, oh, no, he didn't do nothing. Start this one. And they are a hungry team. Every couple of years they come out and they just play really, really well. And I think this is one of the years they play well. I think Jaden Daniels takes a step back. Washington's going to have a tougher schedule. Dallas has a third-place schedule. I see no reason they can't win. And yes, it's probably going to take 11, 12 games to win this division. But I do think Dallas can do it. I think that they're just going to be hungry this year. Next year they'll flop on their face. But this year, I have a feeling that Dallas is going to come out with a vengeance.
I think the Cowboys are going to have a good year. I think they're going to have a better year than most people think that they're going to have. I can see them winning 8-9 games this year. I don't think they're going to be in that 5-win category. I do like the offense a lot. I just think that defensively they're hurt. And the whole Michael Parsons thing is another thing that could possibly scare me and another thing that could backfire against the Cowboys. We don't know how that's going to play out. But I do know this. Nick Fangio is still the defensive coordinator for the Philadelphia Eagles, and last year they led the league in opponents' yards per game at 288.6 and opponents' points per game at 18.1. I don't think that there's a slack off. I think when you saw what you saw in the playoffs in that 4-man front that they were running, where they could just get pressure to the quarterback with 4 guys and not have to worry about blitzing in order to get pressure, that's going to put you in every single game.
It is.
And so,
the only major loss was Milton Williams. He went to the Patriots, and then you had Darius Slay, which they let go, but their cornerbacks are going to be fine.
Well, let me ask you this. Do you see the Cowboys winning 12 games? Because that's what it's going to take to win that division.
I'd have to look at their schedule, but I think they have the potential to. What's going to hurt them is they have to avoid being last year's Cincinnati. Because I think they've got the offense to shoot out with anybody. Their defense can't be. I mean, Cincinnati is a couple of, flip-flop of games from being an 8-win team to being a 12-win team. Yeah. That's what Dallas has to avoid. They cannot be last year's Cincinnati Bengals.
Okay, so we got 2 on the Eagles, 1 on the Cowboys. We're going to shift now to the NFC West. Brendan, who you got?
I think this one is going to be a lot easier than it has been in the past couple of years. I think the 49ers losing Debo. I think was Ayuk out all year, the majority of the year. You know, I think Kittle, we kind of talked about this before the show, I think Kittle will actually have a step back. I think he's going to be targeted a lot, but I think he's going to be covered a lot more because he's going to be the receiving guy. I think Seattle got worse at quarterback with Darnold. Arizona, you really don't know who you're getting with that, and that just leaves the Rams. I think they're going to be consistent, and I think they're going to win that division.
Okay, he's going L.A. Clinton, who you got, brother?
The Rams. They just look good. You know, I think they've got arguably a top 2-3 quarterback in the NFC. He's the most experienced quarterback in the NFC. They didn't lose much on offense. They swapped out Cooper Kupp and got Devontae Adams. I think Adams still has 20 left in the tank. Their defense was young last year and still played good. I think you're gonna have two second year. Yeah, Jared Verse, and I can't remember the other one. You're gonna have two second year defensive linemen that are gonna come in and even be better.
Does Stafford's back problems that's coming out of training camp bother you at this point?
No, because he's had back problems in the past, and he plays through. You know, and they had the opportunity to beat Philly in the playoffs.
Oh, yeah, it was a play away.
It was a play away. Jalen Carter made a heck of a play, and that's what saved the season. But they were by far the closest, and I think there's a reason for that. And I think they're going to come in, they're going to be secure, and they're going to win that division.
We're all on the same thing. We're all on the LA Rams. I agree with everything you guys are saying. I'm lost. I think number one, they got the best coach in the division. I think they got the best quarterback in the division, and they've also now got the best defense in that division.
Yeah,
and you could say with Kyron Williams right now, you could say Kyron Williams is the best running back in that division.
He's the most healthy, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you got Kenneth Walker, always misses a game or two. McCaffrey's a toss-up, and James Conner is usually hurt a game or two.
Just look at the division. They have the least amount of question marks.
I agree.
Of all four of them. I think that's why I pick them.
Well, the only team that's a wild card for me, who I just don't know what we're going to get, is the Cardinals. I mean, I really don't know what that team's going to be because they can play amazing one game and they just look like.
See, that's how I feel about the 49ers. I don't know what to expect with all these things.
Well, they got no receiving core right now.
No,
they got absolutely no receiving core. The defense has got
unless that Ricky Pearsall just comes out and breaks out like lightning.
Yeah. So let's shift now to NFC North. Brendan, who you got?
Out of this division will come the number one seed. That is the Minnesota Vikings.
Wow.
You proved my point last year. But no, I think, I don't think they're an overall good team. I think they're a team that can take that quarterback.
See, last year y'all laughed at me about the Pittsburgh Steelers, and now y'all are both on the Steelers. And last year y'all laughed at me about the Vikings, and now you're on the Vikings.
But I think they have a team and a coaching staff that can take a young quarterback and they can go with them. And so I have three teams in this division making the playoffs, but I think they're going to come out on top of it.
Well, we were talking when we had that discussion about coaches and the best coaching staff, right? And then I said I think it's the Vikings, and ESPN and PFF also got the Vikings as the best coaching staff in the NFL. And we were looking at that today, me and Brendan as well. And I agree. I think McConnell's a heck of a good coach. He's got the Vikings. He's going the old way of the waterdog, brother. What are you doing, Mr. Clinton?
Well, I look at that division, and I wanted to say it was hard. No, it was definitely hard. Now, I'm not a believer in the Vikings just because I've heard J.J. McCarthy has struggled in camp. I think it's going to take him a little bit to get figured out. Now, McConnell's going to do fine because McConnell always makes sure he plays to the strength of his quarterback. I think the Bears are going to be a challenge because I think they got a lot better. The Lyons lost their offensive coordinator, and I don't think a lot of people are talking about that enough. I'm just saying, I think that's a bigger thing than people are making it out to be. And when I see one team that stayed pretty much together. They lost one defensive player. I think their quarterback is just going to continue to transcend. They got him a wide receiver, and I'm taking the Green Bay Packers to win the division.
Okay.
Go Pack, go.
So you're on the love train.
Yeah.
I think the big thing with Detroit, they lost both coordinators.
I think that's the big thing, but we've seen teams that.
But I also think that they might have a bit of confidence hurt because they were rolling last year and then out of nowhere.
Yeah. But I mean, the Eagles lost two coordinators, and then they had two new coordinators, and they went and won a Super Bowl. So you don't know what you got, really.
It's all about who you replace. Because
Yeah,
I mean, you see, one season Eagles replace both, they absolutely are turmoil. The next they replace both, and everything's great.
Well, I'm just looking at rosters. And let's just simply, if you had to pick the best head coach in that division right now, who's the best head coach in that division?
Matt LaFleur.
You go with Matt LaFleur?
No, O'Connell. I'm sorry.
You're going to go with O'Connell? I go with O'Connell, okay?
O'Connell.
Okay, so I go with O'Connell too. Now, who's your best quarterback?
If I'm taking for the rest of their career, it's Jordan Love.
Now who do you got?
This personal guy, I like more the Jared Goff style. It's just in the pocket and makes the right plays like that.
I like
they get
Goff
hurt
too.
less.
All right. Who's going to run the football better?
Oh, I agree. That's Detroit.
Okay, I think Detroit too. Okay. All right. Now here comes the only thing that might surprise people. Who got the best defense?
Minnesota's was pretty good last year.
I go with Vikings too. So I'm going to take the Vikings as well on the defensive side. So to me, I agree with Brendan. It's kind of a toss-up, but I think overall personnel-wise, I just like the Lions a little bit
I don't
more.
disagree with personnel.
Yeah. I just like the Lions a little bit more, so I've got to go with the Lions in that division.
But
Because there's just so much to me. The two teams to me in that division that are the two top dogs is Vikings and Lions. And then I think the Packers are a really good team. I think they could possibly win 10 games again. They could possibly still make the playoffs again.
y'all doubted them last year and they did it.
I'm just saying, I just don't know if they're going to win that division. So we're all on different teams. I got the Lions, Glenn's got the Packers, and Brendan's got the Vikings. And so that's the North.
Now, if we're all three wrong, that's a shocker. That's coming out of nowhere.
Well, to me, that's the hardest division because at one point in time, midway through that season, all four of those teams were in the playoff picture.
Yeah.
At one point, and it wasn't until they really fired Eberflus that the Bears just collapsed, and so that's where that change went. So let's go to the South now. Brendan, South.
I think there's changes in this division. We don't know what Penix is really going to do, what the whole role is going to be. But Tampa Bay, I think they're just Baker and that team. Give me Tampa Bay to win it.
All right, he's on the Bucks, brother. Who you got, Mr. Clint?
I got a team that I look at how they ended the year, and they ended it really, really positive. I think the quarterback showed a lot of promise in year two. They played the Eagles very strongly, had a chance to win the game at the end of the game. They played a lot of teams really well, and I think they're going to surprise. I think the Panthers are going to win that division. Like I said, I think Bryce Young has started to really show some promise. They went and got him an alpha wide receiver. They've got a good running back room. I like the Panthers to take a step up in a division that I think is just going to be so tight. I mean, you look at it last year, Tampa lost both games to the Falcons and still pulled it out. The Saints, I hate it for Kellen Moore because I think he just took a job that he set up for failure. I don't think they're going to be much. Falcons are a toss-up, and I like the Buccaneers. I really do. No, I really like them. Something might happen this year, and I don't know why. I like the Panthers. I like what they've got going on there. It's taken some time, but they're building in the right direction finally, I think, and I think they're going to surprise people.
I like the Bucks, and I like the Bucks because I think Baker's a top 5 quarterback right now, and I think the fact that they just got better at wide receiver with Ekeba, I think that that running back that they got last year, the rookie, is going to go into his second year.
Oh yeah.
And I just think offensively they are going to be really, really good. The defensive side of the football, they're stout, and so I look at their schedule and I see them winning 11, 12 games, and so I think they're going to take the South pretty easily.
And to me, when I kind of look at this, it's a copycat of the other South in the AFC. I think they're kind of the Houston of this, right? So we talked about Jacksonville has all these shiny weapons and toys. I think that's Atlanta. They have all these toys, but they never put it together. I think the other two teams, the Saints and the Panthers, are kind of like the Titans and
Colts.
the Colts, right? So they got something here.
Yeah, but like I said,
tough, but
I think the Panthers showed real promise towards down the stretch last year.
I just don't think that I just don't. When you're talking about lineups, overall personnel, I think the Falcons and the Buccaneers have just better lineups.
Sure, you can have the better lineup. That don't mean you're. I mean, how many times did the Chiefs play and honestly have the better team last year, but they won?
Well, the Chiefs were better than everybody
Roster. I
last
thought,
year.
but they didn't have the best roster. And when they played Baltimore, they didn't have the best roster. I don't think they had the best roster when they played Buffalo. I don't think they had the best roster when they played Philly.
Well, I disagree. I think on the field the Chiefs had the best roster of any team in the AFC.
Hey man, they're playing 14, 15
That's
guys at a time.
I'm just saying. I sometimes the quarterback can make a big difference, and I like that team.
Okay, Blaze, there you go.
Listen, 4 teams are going to change in the playoffs. I only think it's going to be one in the AFC, and I had to pick 3 in the NFC, and so far I've got my 2.
There you go. All right, so let's go wild card teams, Brandon.
So I think Detroit is going to make it. Give me the Packers to also make it, and then I think the Commanders slide in that last spot. I think it's going to be a battle between them and Dallas. I just think that they're the better team.
Okay, so let me backtrack here real quick because I just want to kind of make sure that what I'm looking at here. So, how many difference makers do you have? The Eagles made it last year. You got them. You got the Rams. They made it last year. You got the Vikings. They made it last year. You got the Buccaneers. They made it last year. You've got the Lions. They made it last year.
He's got the same.
You got the Packers, and you got the same 7 teams. You've got no shift in the NFC. Wow, no shift. What you got?
I got the Eagles. They're still going to make the playoffs. You know, as long as Hurts is all good, they're still going to make the playoffs. I got the Lions. They're still going to make the playoffs. And this is my surprise. And I looked, and I was like, man, I like the Bucks, but usually the South only ever gets one team in. I think the last team is going to come from the West. And I looked at those teams, and I agree. Arizona's just too up and down. One week they play great, one week they play bad. Seattle, I don't know. I really don't know. That could be a team that just Sam Darnold comes out and blossoms, but I think it was the coach. And so I'm going back to Kyle Shanahan, and I think he's going to figure out a way to win, and they are going to be the last seed in the wild card to make the playoffs, and that gives me a total of 3 teams shifting in the NFC.
Okay. All right. I had a conundrum. And my conundrum was the Washington Commanders. Do I make them a wild card team since I've got the Eagles winning the division? When I look at their schedule, I see a lot of losses. Okay? Week 2 at Green Bay. I think that's a loss. Week 4 at Atlanta. I think that's a loss. Week 5 at Los Angeles Chargers. I think that's a loss. Week 7 at Dallas. I think that's a loss. Week 8 at Kansas City. I think that's a loss. Week 9 versus the Seattle Seahawks. They're going to be at home. That's probably a toss-up, but I still like Seattle over them. And then you've got Week 10 against the Lions. That's the revenge game. And so just within the first 10 weeks, I'm looking at a possibility of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7 losses in their schedule. Then we shift to the second half of the schedule. They're going to have to play the Denver Broncos. That could be a loss. They're going to have to play at Minnesota. That could be a loss. They're going to have to play the Eagles twice. I think that's 2 losses. Okay? I don't see them with a winning record.
Oh, you missed one.
Week 3 against the Ravens. And so that's why I don't have the Commanders in. And I know a lot of people are on the Commanders. But I think personnel-wise and everything else, we've talked about the sophomore slump. Jaden Daniels might be good, but right now, who's he going to throw the ball to? Because is Terry McLaurin even going to be there? Is he going to be there? Okay, and so I don't know. And then when I looked over here at their defense, last year you got to realize they ranked 22nd in defense. 22nd in defense. 22nd.
By the way, this is why I think the winner of the NFC East is only going to need 11 games. They play the 2 hardest divisions of football, the NFC North and the AFC West. They play the 2 hardest divisions in football. That's why I don't think but you're going to need 11 wins. And I agree with you. I just couldn't do it with the Washington.
I like Falcons making it. I like the Minnesota Vikings making it. And then I like the Seattle Seahawks. I'm high on the Seahawks. The Seahawks played really good last year, and I actually think they got an upgrade at the quarterback with Sam Darnold over Geno Smith. I think that's an upgrade. And so, and I think they're going to be really good in the West. And so that's kind of who I'm going with right there. Those are my 3 teams. So for me, I've only got a couple of changes. I got a couple of teams out and a new couple of teams in. Overall, I've only got 3 differences. Okay? You've got what? 3? 4?
No, yeah.
Yep. So there's not a whole lot of change that we're seeing in the NFL. We're going to see a lot of the same dominant teams. We're starting to get to this point because me and you were talking about this earlier. There used to be about 6 to 8 teams that would change every year, but that's been slowly going down each year over the last few years.
Yep.
And I think that when you start to expand these schedules, rosters are going to start winning games. So you're going 17 games now. Then you're going to go to 18 games, and rosters are going to win games. And so which teams put together the best overall rosters, to me, that's one of the reasons why I think you're going to see a lot of repeat. So that's how I'm looking at it. So that's our playoff teams.